Mr. Vaino, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's an
Definitely.
honor to be here.
How long have we known each other now? Since high school, right?
Yeah, since high school. So we were at David Besadenot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in the same class since grade 8.
Since grade 8,
Since
all
grade
the way up until grade 12.
So, yeah, grade 12.
Grade
Grade
12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you were very quiet. Very quiet.
Yeah.
You weren't really an extrovert like that. So I'm quite impressed by the fact that, you created this podcast.
Yeah.
And I commend you for that.
Yeah. It's funny because it's still, I think usually what I've noticed is when you grow up, it's almost like the spaces that you had a little bit of a weak spot on, you're trying to work on it.
Yeah.
And then it seems as though you're a completely different person. But it's just like you've sat down and looked, what are these weak spots that I have? And you try and sort of fix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think especially for people that do a lot of self-introspection, right? You know that, okay, I have a weak spot or a weak element when it comes to, let's say, public speaking.
Yeah.
Right? So you choose to improve on it because you do self-introspection and you notice that that's something you want to work on. So I think especially for people that are able to analyze themselves and be able to see what is the next plan and work on it, those are the people that are actually able to progress further in life, Yeah. And be in positions where from an 18-year-old who's an introvert to a 20-something, or I don't know if you're 30 now, but to be at that age and be able to just do something that's so different.
Yeah.
Hence why I feel like the glow up term is essentially just people that have been able to self-introspect themselves and be able to work on themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what glow up basically means.
Yeah. Is it something like glow down? Or maybe it's like if you don't have a bad spot, you don't have the urgency to fix it. Yeah.
No, there is a glow down. And like I said, it's when you're not willing to not just listen to people, but also just realize for yourself. Because I'm sure everyone has a voice in their mind that tells them that, what you're doing is wrong, or we can improve in this manner. If you choose to listen to it, that's how you experience the glow up, right? You choose to take care of your physical body, right? I know guys that were in high school, they used to shower probably once a week or something. But now they take care of themselves physically, even in a spiritual sense, right? You might notice that, man, I'm so far away from God in terms of my spirituality. And you are able to realize for yourself that, okay, what do I need to do about it? So, and you take the course of action towards that.
Yeah.
Reading your Bible more, or praying more, or going to a church where you can really learn more about God. So it's really just self-introspection, really.
Definitely.
That's where it starts. Glow down is when you choose to just not listen to it.
You stay the same, you go back. Yeah. Before we get into everything, how would you describe yourself? Less than 1 minute.
How do I describe myself in less than 1 minute?
Yeah.
So on Instagram, I call myself Tall Telescope. So
okay, tall, we get it.
Yeah.
Telescope because you can see in the future.
No, because I wear glasses. That's why.
Okay.
So usually whenever people describe me, initially they'll be like the tall guy with glasses. But apart from that, in terms of personality, I believe I'm more of a ambivert. So I enjoy being outdoors, but I have a very limited social battery. But I also enjoy being indoors on my own, and just enjoying my own company. Also when it comes to family, I'm very family orientated, spiritually grounded. I'm a strong believer in God. I believe that life without God is meaningless, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a people's person. I surprise myself every time when people tell me that I'm a people's person, but I've been getting that a lot, that I'm quite a people's person. So,
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. What about the career side of things?
Yeah, and also in terms of career, I'm quite analytical, quite accurate when it comes to my work. I enjoy work where you have to interact with people. That's why the job that I currently do now at the development bank, it allows me to interact with various people in the commercial sector. But essentially what I do is I'm a treasury dealer. So I manage the liquidity of the bank, especially the money of the bank. Managing it in the sense of making sure that there's enough funds on a day-to-day basis for whatever the bank needs to do or pay respective clients or operational needs. But of course, you don't want the funds to just be sitting in a call account or just in a current account. So I also deal with investment management for the bank. So I manage the bank's money as well in terms of investments. Yeah. So because of that, I get to interact with many people in the commercial sector, be it the banks, and the asset managers, in and out of Namibia. So yeah, exposure. I love exposure because you get to meet different people, get to get different perspectives of life. And yeah, just, broaden your horizons as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to see how I can phrase this question because I don't want to get you in trouble at work or anything.
Oh, no problem.
But I've always noticed, especially in the workplace, like there's maybe three types of workers, right? It's like the first one is someone that has, at least to me, seems as though he's found a perfect job. This is where he wants to stay. This is where he can see himself growing and progressing in this space. And there's people, for the most part, that are just working just to, make a living.
Yeah.
But they have dreams to move somewhere else. And this, I'm not sure the second one could be people that are working, but they have dreams to be somewhere else. At the same time, they're sort of working on something else. So they divide their days into two. It's like when they're at work, it's just work stuff. As soon as they get home, they start building up this thing eventually to sort of ditch the work and then continue doing this. And there are other people who just don't like the job and they want to move to a different place. So you don't have to answer it as if it's you.
Yeah.
But how does it feel? Do you feel like, this is where I'm at, and maybe if I'm to grow, I would just grow in this job and maybe get better at this job? Or is there something else that you're working on?
Yeah. So I remember before I went to do my master's. So I went to do my master's full time, right, in 2021. And while I was doing my master's, I told myself that the next role that I get into, I'm going to try my best to become a master at it. And grow in that specific career path. Because if you go back in my career, there's a lot of things I did. I was in IT, I was an economist, I was in international banking as well, and asset management. So my career is very diverse. But after my master's, I felt like, okay, the career I'm going to do after this, it has to be something that we're going to do for life or for a long period of time. So we become a master. Personally, I feel like I'm actually in a good space, and I'm always grateful for that. Because not many people have that opportunity to be in a space where they feel like they're using all their skills. I've been in positions where I haven't been able to use all the skills I have. And it goes back now to introspection, right?
Yeah.
Understanding who you are and what you are capable of doing. If you know that you're a very analytical person and you know you won't enjoy being in a back office space where you're not able to exercise that skill. So you always try and aim for something that, you know for yourself you're actually good at, and look for spaces where you can actually fit in. And it's quite frustrating. It's not an easy thing, especially in this market. It's a small market, but it's very competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But however, I think the intention that you have at the end of the day is very important. Knowing that, what I have, I'm willing to offer it in the best capability that I can. So just being confident in that. That's what makes people stand out in an interview. When you're just speaking things that's just gibberish or things that are not truly you, interviewers can see it. Interviewers can definitely see it. But if it's really genuinely you, and you know that I am very analytical, I am able to work with various people, I enjoy working in an environment where I can be creative, for example. It is something that will really demonstrate itself in the interview room without you having to say too much here. Yeah. So self-introspection.
Yeah.
And then matching that with what work fits with you.
Yeah. But you think, what do people really optimize for? Do they optimize for how they fit in with the job or the rewards they get from that job? Because it seems as though when people say they're looking for the best job, it's usually tied to
money.
To money.
Yeah.
Like, how much do I get from this thing? Because realistically speaking, if you were to work, no matter what type of job you're doing, but the remuneration that you're getting is like really here, would you align your passion to, because I mean, you putting in the work and you're seeing the benefits of it?
Yeah.
Or do you feel people really just optimize for what am I good at and do I feel happy?
No, it depends person to person. Yeah? It depends on your values. If your value is, look, I just want to have money, that's it, then you'll try everything to make that money. However, if you're a person that's trying to find their ikigai, I read Ikigai last year as well.
It's a book, right?
Yeah. So Ikigai essentially is just identifying, what's the central point in your life in terms of what you want to do in the future. That's why you'd find Chinese people, for example, in China, that are so old, but they're still working because they enjoy the work that they do. He might be a rice farmer since he was 20 something years old, but that's his ikigai. That's his central point of what he does that he enjoys, what's his talent, what he can get paid for. And I think what makes a difference. I just don't remember everything in that ikigai circle. But essentially just finding your ikigai is very important.
Okay.
And essentially, of course, if you're a bad painter, you won't really get as much clients, unfortunately. And it might be something that you're happy at. It's not something that, that you can get paid for.
Yeah.
So it's essentially, for each of these points, you need to write down what it is. What am I actually good at? What can I get paid for? And then just aligning that, trying to find that match around it. So, yeah. So I think it's again, introspection, man. Study yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
know thyself. I think
know thyself. Yeah. That's why I like in being by myself at times. Sometimes I'll just be literally in a car, parked somewhere with a nice view and just like thinking, literally having a boardroom meeting by myself and understanding something that, maybe a tough decision I have to make or, something that I'm just thinking about for a long period of time. And after that, I have a clear mind most of the time.
Yeah. I think it's someone who said most of the answers we're looking for is in the silence that we're escaping.
Yep.
A lot of people don't get time to just sit down, reflect, and see, maybe come up with a course correction and sort of like a plan of in order to tackle the issues that they're experiencing. Right?
And the thing is, sometimes you can figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yes, you can get wisdom from other people and from books and such, but sometimes just you sitting with yourself and making a hard decision and being very honest to yourself and saying, oh, Vaino, we're not going to do this. This is not going to work. What should we do differently? Should I manage my finances differently? Should I get new people around my circle? Tough decisions that you have to make. Sometimes you just have to decide on that.
Yeah. Since we're speaking a lot on introspection, what matters to you most in life? Like, what areas have you classified like this is really important to me?
God. Yeah. God, really. Like, for me, I had to question myself once where I asked myself, why do I believe in God? Right? In Namibia, we live in a society where from a young age, you go to Sunday school. You get baptized from a young age, some people. And you go to Sunday school, you're taught about God. At school, RME, I don't know if you remember RME. You also taught about God at school. You come home, your mother is telling you or your father is telling you about God. If you grew up in such a household. And you just hear about God everywhere here. But then I had to ask myself, why do I believe in God? Why do I actually truly believe that Jesus died and rose up in 3 days? If you told me, Nathan, that you died and rose up in 3 days, I would not believe you. I'm telling you, I would not believe you.
It's not something that happens for you to believe it.
It's not something, But what made me stand firm in my belief, or what makes me stand firm in my belief, is because I've had experiences where I could honestly just say it's only God that helped me through this. Be it like in my career, be it in my family, be it in my mental health, be it in relationships with people, just in every aspect. I honestly have seen the power of God in my life. So honestly, what's most important for me on top of the list is just choosing to live life obeying Him. That's what's important.
Yeah. I like that because it's very interesting, especially if you're like me, like we grew up in a family where it's been Christian. At some point, it does become a bit of a habit, and then it's difficult for you to, not difficult, but you sort of take it as just something that I've been doing over and over and over. And then
you start acting it.
Yeah.
You're
just acting it out. And then you try looking for different things. It's like you get older and you're like, okay, how can I sort of fix my life in some sort of way? Because you're optimizing obviously for a better life. Right? And you try books and everything like that. At least to my view, it's like most of the books that we read, they just amplify a certain aspect that the Bible already speaks about.
Exactly.
They just made it so much, they break it down and everything.
Yeah.
But there's that story of, the children of Israel, when they were coming out of Egypt, they were going to the promised land.
For 40 years,
if you look at the map, they're just really close to each other, but it took like 40 years around it. I feel like that's how we are. We spend a lot of time looking for the thing, and the thing is just coming. As soon as you come back and realize that God was the answer that you were looking for, and then that journey would have been really just small, but it takes some of us like a really long time to realize that, and then so I guess we realize it in our own ways. But
everyone has their own journey, all right? I wish everyone could discover God like at a very early age. However, everyone goes through their life journey and such. And however, people like us are supposed to be instruments to talk about God to them. But I do think essentially the Israelites saw the power of God, man. Like they saw, the Red Sea being parted. Man, they even got like 10 commandments and all of those things, but they still chose not to believe him.
Isn't it crazy how humans can be? Like, how much evidence do you need?
How much evidence do you need? Like, how much more do you need?
Yeah.
So for me, I had to ask myself, why do I believe that Jesus Christ died and rose up from the dead, and he's alive today? And like I said, introspection. You realize, okay, this only happened because of God. It was not by my own ability.
Yeah.
So even in mental health, that's something I experienced as well. So
Well, how's the mental health? What do you mean? How is that? How have you experienced? What's your version of it?
So, for me, or for men in general, many men don't talk about, what's going on here in their minds and stuff. But I'm a person that's a talker. I think you know this also.
Of course.
I talk. So, I tend to express myself. If something's bothering me, I express myself and such like that. So, at times, like you said, sometimes in the Bible, it will just provide you guidance, right? There's a reason why God said, give all your prayers to me if you're anxious, right? In prayer and submission, I'll give you a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yeah.
It's a peace that's not from here. It's something that's from him. So even during my time when I was not really in the right space mentally, which I experienced, in work, even in my studies, there are times when masters is not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. So there are times when you really doubt yourself, but sometimes God literally just believes in you. And the Bible just assures you of those things. So and I think also just the people that you have around you, man. Like you have to have friends like Nathan, people that will just tell you that, look, I hear you, but this is not what you're seeing.
Yeah.
What you're seeing is just temporary. I remember a friend of mine told me this that sticks with me until today, is that this is just part of the story that you'll talk about at the end of the day, what you're going through now. And that's something I always remind myself. If I'm going through a hard moment, I'm like, okay, it will pass and we'll get to talk about it in the future.
Yeah.
Be with, friends, family, my children in the future, so
Yeah. It's like with guys, I think it's really not, it doesn't come easy to just express yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like we think that we have to just press through it and then just bottle it up, deal with it, press through it, because that's sort of like the masculine imperative. It feels like it's not.
There's an element of that also, because you can't also be a nagger.
A complaining
person all the time.
Yeah.
Then you'll be more complaining and less action.
Yeah.
you need to be more action and less complaining, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay to complain and stress about it for a period of time, but there should be an action that should be done after that complaining. You should be able to dust off your feet and stand up and proceed.
Yeah.
Try again.
And the speaking also gives you, speaking of someone at least, it gives you perspective. Because, if you're staring at a phone like this, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
It feels like everything is blurry. But if you pull it away, that's when you see clearly. So I think someone else speaking to you has more perspective on what's going on. Maybe what you think is this bad thing that's happening over you. Maybe it's really not that big, and it's something that happens to everybody, and it's something, like you said, that as time it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
But because it's happening to you now, and you don't have perspective of, has it happened to other people before? Is it something people experience? And you might close yourself off into building.
Yeah, that's why I like listening to podcasts, because sometimes you think your problem is so huge.
Yeah.
Until you hear another person's situation. I remember when I was studying, I had to resign my job to go and study my master's full-time in UK. And it was a very hard decision for me because my career was going in a specific direction. Things were looking quite well financially. I was able to provide at home. And yeah, it was looking good until the scholarship came. And it was a good scholarship, but there had to be a sacrifice of, you're going to quit your job. Because, the place of employment where I was didn't allow me to go for a year and come back. Now, when I went to the UK with other people that also got the same scholarship, you get to talk about, life and life back home. And then you learn that, this is a mother of 3 kids that is studying here full time. And I'm like, what? And then another one like, my girlfriend is about to give birth and I'm here in the UK, Other people also had to quit their jobs as well. Other people had to leave their businesses just closed, basically, or trusting one person to run it while they are in the UK. So you realize that, oh my goodness, I'm here complaining about just resigning a job, and I don't have kids. But there's a mother of 3 here that's doing her master's in full time. So yeah, when you talk with people, it also gives you introspection or perspective. That make you realize that, you're actually fully capable to do much more, because if they're able to do it, I'm sure you have the ability as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And it's one thing that never goes away. It's like pain. The sooner you understand that it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And the problems are not necessarily problems, but there's puzzles to solve.
Yeah.
As soon as you make that mental shift that it's just a puzzle that needs to be solved. I mean, everything that's worth having seems to come with some degree of difficulty or pain. I mean, for God to give us eternal life, he had to die. And die in the most innocent man dying in the most painful way, so there's no escape. As long as you want something worth having, there's always going to be some degree of difficulty.
There's always going to be some form of sacrifice. There's no way that everything will come easy on a silver platter just like that. It's going to come with some form of sacrifice, something that you have to do in order to achieve that. Right? If you look at athletes, for example, or soccer players, yes, it's great to watch them lift the trophy, but they had to go through a lot of sacrifices to get to that point in terms of training, cutting off social life, in terms of like going out the amount that they would want to go out, even their diet and all of that. So yeah, sacrifice is needed. Sacrifice is always needed. No pain, no gain.
Definitely. The gym, right?
I also work out. No, there's a lot of life lessons you can learn from the gym, hey?
A lot of them.
A lot of life lessons. Because for you to grow in the gym, you need to push yourself. If you're just pushing 5 kg all the time for a year, you will not grow in terms of your muscle. But if you continuously try to challenge yourself, right? I think it's called progressive overload. If you continuously try and increase the weight, that's how you grow. So you must also just choose to put yourself in situations where you have to grow, right? Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's something that's essential, because if you're just choosing to be in the comfort zone, there's no growth that happens in the comfort zone. if you are in a workspace where it's just chilled and you don't do anything, you're not going to grow in terms of your abilities or realize what you're able to do or your potential that you didn't know you actually have. But being able to go out of your comfort zone is just very important. It allows you to really identify what you're fully capable of, things that you didn't know about yourself. And tying back to that second question that you had, sometimes maybe you might be in a crappy work environment, right? That where you feel like you're not using your whole potential. But there's other places where you can actually work or contribute, outside of work, right? So let's say, for example, you are a mechanic, for example. Fine, you're fixing cars and stuff like that, but your passion is being a teacher. Fine, you might not be a teacher at that moment, but you're able to provide extra classes afterward, which is your actual passion. So it might not be a comfortable time because you're working the whole day.
Yeah.
Then you start teaching throughout the night. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but that's where growth happens.
Yeah.
That's where growth happens, really.
Yeah. You do some community service as well.
Yeah, I do community work as well. So, I used to volunteer at adult teaching school. So essentially we teach adults in Korea Hub, essential skills that they could have learned in university, but at a lower cost. Some adults didn't get the chance to really go there because, life got hard very early for them. And that institution just provides the opportunity for them to learn computer literacy, English, Afrikaans, nail tech, waitressing, a number of courses, maths, all of that. So and even just business management. Because through that institution, they get the opportunity to really learn something that they never got the chance to do. Because if they go to NUS, it's very expensive to do that.
Yeah.
But Hatika, that's the name of the center, provides that opportunity. So I was a volunteer for, I think, about a year. And then after that, the founder asked me to go on the board, specifically on finance, because he felt like the center could benefit from my financial expertise. And throughout the year, we've been able to do so much. I'm actually ending my term, tomorrow, because tomorrow we're having a farewell,
Nice.
and handing over to the next board members.
Yeah.
But it's financial insight that I've been able to put for a good cause, right? Not to get into numbers, but throughout the year, I've been able to establish a scholarship fund for the institution. We got funding from Capricorn as well. So we're able to build a new classroom and a toilet.
Nice.
And just in terms of financial management, considering that I'm in investments, I was able to create an investment policy for them where they are able to place the excess funds, not just in a call account, but at least it's continuously growing in a good manner. So it was a good year. Nice. I was able to do a lot of work. So
nice. Okay, so for someone like a typical guy, let's say, that works, he graduated from university, he works now. He works like in a normal job. Like, what investment? Because if you get most of the insights for investments, it's stuff that aren't necessarily relatable to what happens here. Like, what would you advise like a normal person that wants to start investing?
Wants to start investing, or wants to start working in investments?
No, wants to start investing the money that they have.
Okay. I think you need to understand what your not IPS. IPS is something else for a company, but in layman's terms, basically how you want your investments to be like. Do you want to place your money in an investment where you are able to take it when an emergency comes up? Or would you like to place it in a portfolio that is a bit more risky, but generates more gain, in terms of return? So it depends on your financial appetite, right? Or your risk appetite specifically. If you're not a person that wants to risk too much, ideally putting it in money market is the safest approach. Money market portfolio. So that usually consists of financial instruments from banks and the central bank. However, if you're looking for a more risky, portfolio in terms of times you'll get a higher return and at times it won't be as high. Sometimes you can place it either in equities. But let me not be a financial advisor. Let me just say that Seek with a financial advisor. They'll advise you. But ideally, just know what is your risk appetite. What is the financial needs that you have, or why are you choosing to invest? Do you want to invest so you can have it when the returns in investments when you're 40 years old? Or are you looking to just invest for a year? You know, so all of those things, risk appetite, the term that you want to put that investment in, and how much it is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Risk appetite means what? That whatever you're investing might go away, or?
Yeah, so not really go away, but considering that it's financial instruments, so like let's say if it's stocks, yeah? Or let's say if it's stocks. Of course, stocks don't experience an upward trend all the time. There'll be times when it depreciates as well. So that's now a risky portfolio because there is a chance that it might obtain returns that are beneficial for you, but it also might not obtain or generate returns that you'd want at the end of the day. But that's a more riskier one, right? Because you're not in control of it. It's actually investor sentiment that's in control of that. Whereas if it's less risky, money market, that one is now just with financial instruments, which is now banks and central banks instruments that they invest in. So that one, of course, it's not an upward trend throughout the whole time, but it's a bit more stable. It's not a sudden shock that happens. It won't experience, let's say, tomorrow, it experiences a dip of about, let's say, 5 basis points. That will not happen because the instruments that it's invested in, it doesn't really fluctuate as much. Yeah. Whereas other riskier portfolios experience more fluctuations. So that's why it's a bit more risky.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
But when it comes to riskier portfolios, it's best to put that in the long term, so that you can benefit from it at the end in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying.
But you do gain more profit the longer it stays, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Depending on the term and also when you withdraw and all that. So it's a lot of factors. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So what are you interested in? I know you mentioned books and stuff like that. Hobbies. Do you have hobbies? And
I gym. We spoke about gymming already.
Yeah. Gym, books.
Yeah.
You read?
I enjoy listening to music a lot. Especially Afrobeats. Love Afrobeats so much. I used to listen to that music before it even blew up.
Can you listen to music and just listen to music, or do you have to be doing something while listening to?
Both. So I also work while listening to music.
Yeah.
At times.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't listen to music at all. But sometimes when it's a requirement for a lot of energy, that's when I play music. It just helps keep the energy, you know. But it also depends. Sometimes I play mellow music, just to focus more. Sometimes I play worship music just to chill out and whatnot. And sometimes I play Afrobeats or Amapiano just to get that energy and that pump, So people that see me, driving my car, my sound is always up because I always enjoy my music.
Is it? No,
yeah.
It's good.
But apart from that, I also go hiking. So I enjoy hiking very much. The last hike I went to was 16 kilometers. Yeah, 16 kilometers of a hike. I haven't gone hiking in a long time though, because my hiking boots broke. So I need to buy new boots and I've been procrastinating on that.
Okay. It damages your boots. I mean, I went hiking maybe recently, probably like a month ago or something, but I just wear normal gym shoes.
No, I did that once. My brother, your ankles, you'll feel the pain.
Really?
And the feet, it's not nice. Because I like buying hiking boots that, what do you call it? That have
things on there.
No, that goes until your ankles.
Oh.
Yeah. So those ones, it supports the ankles. So it doesn't twist too much.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I prefer it. Because when I went with regular sneakers, my ankles were in pain.
I see.
Yeah, my ankles were in pain.
I see.
That's why I prefer with boots. So I've been procrastinating to buy new boots, but yeah, I'll definitely buy new boots and then get back into it.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy traveling, man. Like traveling is fun. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, you need a variety of different things, especially the outdoors are more like they just give you some sort of peace of mind. Because you need to touch grass sometimes. Sometimes you just screens. We have a lot of screens most of the time. So outdoors brings you closer to nature. So that's it's good.
Yeah, no, traveling it's an amazing thing. Like I said, I love exposure. So I wanted to do this year, but starting from this year actually, I'll try my best to travel to one country per year.
One country outside
what
are we talking, like outside of Africa?
Africa, no,
doesn't
it can
matter.
be in Africa.
Doesn't matter.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this year I'm going to Angola.
Nice.
I've never been there.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm quite excited about that. So yeah.
Are you going alone?
Yeah, but I have friends that are there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
Angola is it's an interesting place. I mean, yeah. It's an interesting. If you have people there, it's fun.
Yeah, no, it helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of accommodation and also showing you around and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I haven't done a solo trip yet. I don't think I'm brave enough for that.
Really?
I commend people that are very brave enough to go on a solo trip to another country, especially where there's a language barrier.
Yeah. Oof. I was going to say, if it's a country, because I went on solo trips, if it's a country that speaks English.
Yeah,
like
English
Africa,
is fine. Yeah.
There's not really a difference to here. I mean, yeah.
So but like going
to a foreign
to
country. Yeah.
Like I remember I went to Mozambique. Ooh, the language barrier was real.
They speak Portuguese.
They speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it wasn't a solo trip, but I went with a friend, and that trip was quite challenging, but it was okay because we could both just try and figure it out for ourselves. Yeah. So it was cool. It was a cool trip. Yeah. But language barrier is
a big thing. They're making these new AI translator things where you speak into it.
Yes. But the problem is if you don't have a SIM card,
that's not.
How will you use the internet?
Exactly.
So you need to buy a SIM card.
Yeah.
But you need to talk to that person that sells the SIM card in Portuguese.
You write it down, please, before you go, and then you show them.
No.
Yeah. Do you have any? Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything that you want to advise? I think you've obviously given advice throughout the conversation, like as to, by which people can glean from. But I think I also like to central it down to because when you grow, you learn certain things that if you look back to your young version of yourself, you could give advice to that person. And I guess any young person that's listening to you now can take that information and try and see how they can fit it in their lives. Yeah. What advice?
Funny thing is, I made a video to myself when I'm 30.
When you're 30? Yeah. When did you do the video?
So like a video I recorded myself when I was 23.
Okay.
As a message to myself when I'm 30.
Really?
I don't remember what I said.
So you have to open it when you're 30.
When I'm 30.
Nice.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a form of advice to myself to make sure that, okay, some things obviously change, right? When you're 23, you thought differently from a 30-year-old. So, and life is different as well. But to answer your question, the one thing maybe I would love to let people know or be aware of is that, look, life is hard. Life is hard. There's challenges and stuff like that, but ideally just take note that it's all part of the story that you're going to tell at the end of the day. The hard and the good moments, everything that's happening throughout your life that you're going through, it might seem hard right now, but there will be light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's cliche, but it is true.
Yeah,
there will be light at the end of the tunnel. It's just about your attitude at the end of the day. If your attitude is quite negative, or if you're around negative people, you will not see that light at the end of the tunnel. They'll block your vision from that. But if you're around people, or you choose to be positive, that helps in terms of identifying, oh, there's actually light at the end of the tunnel, and keep you positive throughout it. So yeah, it's really, life is just hard, but everything that happens is a part of the story that you get to tell your kids when you're 60 years old, or your grandkids when you're 80, and just help them throughout their journey in life. Because if life was just easy and smooth, there's nothing you would learn from that.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you would learn from that. But the challenges always teach us something. Always. No sacrifice, no gain.
Definitely. Nice. Thanks, Vaino, for making the time to be. I think I was looking back because I can still remember like the first day we met, like in high school.
Yeah.
And your whole
you should describe me. How am I? Because you know me very well since high school.
I should describe you. Well, I think like you mentioned, you're a people's person.
Yeah.
Because you do have some sort of EQ, which takes whenever you're interacting with people, it's important to know what this person likes and stuff like that. So you do have some level of EQ to you. So you are a people's person in that sense. You also have some sort of discipline and dedication.
Yeah.
Because I realized the difference between someone being smart and someone being disciplined.
Yeah.
Because there were many times where you can be really smart, but I mean, obviously, if you don't put into work to learn and study, it's not going to amount to much.
Yeah.
Or your smartness coupled with discipline could take you further than where you would have.
Further,
so you have some level of discipline. You are a people's person, and you have some level of vision as well, where you can sort of map out the future and then try and find the best route to going to that future. And I think it plays out in the way your life has turned out now in some way, because if I was gonna say, if I look back to how you were in the past and try and map it to now, the advice I would give to people is every little thing, the same way that you are behaving when you're a kid, you know, if you keep doing the right things, there's just no way for you to turn out wrong, you know? And some people think that if I'm doing things now, changing the future, but every single person that sort of like the same way they were in the past, if I fast forward and see them now, I mean, it's not a surprise that like, how did you turn out this way?
How they turned out,
It's very much like
it's kind of like a building block, right?
Definitely.
It builds up to something.
Definitely.
Builds up
so
to
that
something.
whole thing of when I get older, I think you do it now, and the person you are now is going to create the person that you are in the future. So it's really impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Well, glory to God, of course.
Amen.
Yeah, and I think you're one of the friends that I'm gonna keep for a long time, my brother, because I always try and keep positive people around.
Definitely, same here.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we should have a part 2 again. Maybe once you've watched that video, then you tell me what's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.